Right now I'm going to discuss the uh, sketching of, let me hold it properly, sketching of parabola. There are a number of methods. One of the important method for level 1 is called factorized parabolic method. So let's look at an equation y equals excuse me, x plus 1 being multiplied by x plus 2, that bracket, closed bracket, being multiplied by another closed bracket. So we have to be 100% clear about all these. Before I start, I need to talk about the symmetrical understanding of the symmetric object like this one. That's the axis of symmetry, which will be required. That definition will be required later on. Now, in class we discussed number of things has to be sorted out first. So the first thing we need to know is what is x-intercept. X-intercept is straight and simple. When the horizontal axis cuts the curve, these two points are called x-intercepts. With parabolic function, normally there are two. Then we got to work out y-intercept. And if we draw the parabola like this, when the curve cuts the vertical axis, that is called y-intercept. So far we have 3 points. Now the next thing I need to find out the axis of symmetry. The reason we got to find it out, because if we can work that out and think of the axis as an extended line, this is going to cut the vertex of the parabola, which is this one. This one is the vertex of the parabola at that point. And if we can find that, we can find out something called turning point. See that? It's going down, down, down. It's kind of stationary, and then it's coming up. So that's the point we need to complete the vertex, to complete the parabola sketching. Once we have the axis of symmetry, then it becomes a little bit involved algebra, because we have the equation y equals x plus 1 times x plus 2, and from there, that point, if we find out the x value, if we substitute that gives me the y value at that point. We need the y value, otherwise how do we know how far this curve goes down before it turns around and sort of starts climbing up? Or depending on the situation, the things are going to be a little bit different. There you go. I cleaned up the mess. Now I started off with a different equation to make it more so that I can highlight the intersections properly. So the equation is now y equals x plus 2 times, it's a hidden times, you can't see that, then open the bracket, x minus 3, close the bracket. So that's the equation. Now to get the x-intercept, the rule is quite simple. Put y equals 0. That means this y will be 0, and then x plus 2 times x minus 3, and that will, if you solve the equation, that will give you x equals 3, and the other one is going to be x equals negative 2. You have to understand we are still talking about that intercept, the horizontal intercept, which is positive 3 is that point, and negative 2 is the point over there. Now we are fairly okay with 2 points, and they are sitting on the horizontal axis, and that is the reason we call it x-intercept. Now once we have the x-intercept, we are going to work out the once we have the x-intercept, we are going to find out the y-intercept, and the rule is pretty simple. This is the time x equals 0 when we work out the y-intercept, which is understandable because over here we haven't gone to the left or right, so x value is still 0. So x equals 0, and if we go for y equals 0 plus 2 times it by 0 minus 3, okay, that'll give you 2 times negative 3. Well, you got to be very careful with the integers. 2 times negative 3 will give you negative 6. So one other thing we know, the y-intercept will be somewhere over there, right? We have 3 points now, 3 points, right? So now we got to find out what is the middle point of this line, middle point of this line, middle point of this line, and this is the distance between 0 over here 0, that's 3, and another 2 over there, so 5, and that makes it somewhere, it'll be somewhere over there, 2.5. If you are thinking about the distance from the coordinate, distance from the origin, it'll be only 0.5. This distance will be 0.5 to the right. So we worked out axis of symmetry is x equals 0.5. It's right over there in between those 2 points. These are the 2 points, the x-intercept. And we also figured out the y-intercept, which is negative 6, right over there. So we have 1 point, 2 points. That's the third point where the axis of symmetry passes through, and we have got the y-intercept. Well, I was spending some time to draw the axis of symmetry. So you got to do the drill symmetry, right? That means the graph will be well, equally distributed on both the sides of this line. And one of the things we know, the vertex will be sitting somewhere over there. Okay, now we got to do a bit of algebra to find out the vertex, because this, we got the x value, we got to work out the y value now at that point. What is the y value at that point? That's what we need to work out. And we know x equals 0.5, so we got to do substitution in algebra, which is 0.2 plus 2, times it by 0.5 minus 3. So it will give you 2.5 times it by negative 2.5, which is, I believe that will be 6.25 with a negative sign. So negative 6.25, which is somewhere over there. That's the vertex now, and once you have the vertex, you should be able to draw the graph. It's quite messy over here, so don't worry about it. You got to practice it yourself. So now you have all the points. You got the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, you got the turning point, and you have got fairly good idea about the graph. I'll stop there.